Well, James, we might as well start with the really easy question. What's it like to be a journalist during the collapse of liberty? Are you sitting there scribbling notes as the world burns to the ground like the last days of Pompeii? Or can you give us some hope that liberty might survive?
I don't really consider myself a journalist anymore. I was a hack for maybe 25 years of my life in the mainstream media. And in the last 3 years, I've had a kind of awakening whereby I've realized that the fourth estate, this proud bastion of liberty, or so I was assured, that the institution that speaks truth to power fearlessly, is actually just part of a gigantic propaganda machine. And my wake-up moment, well, there were various wake-up moments. One of them was seeing a presidential election stolen in plain sight in the US. Now, that's quite a bad thing, I think, given that we're told that America is the leader of the free world, et cetera, bastion of liberty, all these cliches. But what really shocked me about this was not so much that the election was being stolen, but that all my colleagues in the media were gaslighting us into thinking that there was nothing to see here, that there was no story, that it was all perfectly legitimate. And I thought, well, hang on a second. I thought, look, the reason I became a journalist is because I was unsuited for any other job. I just like throwing stones at windows to see whether they break. I like being the little boy who's pointing out that the emperor's wearing no clothes. And once journalists stop chucking stones at windows and they stop pointing out that the emperor is wearing no clothes, it seems to me that they've defeated the object of their existence, of their job, of their industry. And there are other things as well. I mean, we then had the COVID pandemic that wasn't a pandemic, that it was a plandemic. It was just kind of made up by the World Health Organization with a view to getting us all to taking death jabs, which can sterilize you or maim you or kill you. And I was thinking, again, my journalist's nose tells me this is quite a big story, quite an important story, maybe one that we should be covering a bit, in the newspapers and on TV. Zip, nada. They just went along with the government lie machine. They were bribed by governments. I mean, I'm sure it was the same in Australia. In the UK, newspapers were paid so much money by the government in the form of advertising that they just became government propagandists. So that's a very long answer to a short question about my being a journalist. I don't call myself a journalist because I'm so disgusted with my former colleagues. I feel betrayed by them.